Hello innovation leaders. Today I want to explain a little bit recent practice that I've seen that is growing. It's called shadow engineering, shadow departments, prototyping work. A lot of people are explaining it in different ways. And basically it got unlocked by AI, the AI wave, and all of the code, the designing and everything that we are doing there as craftsmen. And on one side, like, we have the normal schedule of roadmaps, working with big backlogs, trying to do the stuff that is actually production ready and moving the needle for the businesses. But a lot of the time this is involving a lot of capacity problems, innovation theater, and different style of bottlenecks. And on the other side, we have vibe coding, we have like context engineering, and those type of practices that are super fast. They are dopamine fueled, and people usually think that they're like exploding in terms of productivity. But the most recent researches show that vibe coding, especially in engineering, is not producing the expected results. So this is why people try to segregate those, fragment them, not integrate them a lot in the same stuff. So this is how shadow engineering is happening. And in the context of showcasing it, I will probably try to explain the concept with 3 principles and 1 live demo. So imagine that you are a product owner, like a CEO, non-technical, founder, innovation leader in your organization, especially if it's a bigger one, like more than 20 people. And you need to constantly figure out new ideas, develop them, and bring value to the business and to the product. And imagine that you are, let's say, a person that is in a health tech environment, and you want to build a modern dashboard, let's say dark mode, for a hospital triage system. It will use real-time synthetic data. I will explain a little bit about that in a minute. It will also have like required data like name, vitals, wait time, complaint, of course. And your innovation is, because this is usually a very typical system, we've developed those type of things a lot for our partners. And your innovation is that it will look like Netflix style UI UX with categorization, and will feature auto calculated urgency score and symptom recognition. It will also have quick actions for admit or discharge, like for admit and discharge. So basically this is all kinds of edge cases, bottlenecks, underwater stones. And on the other side, product owners, when they have this type of idea, they get a lot of roadblocks in terms of technical debt, capacity problems, usability discussions. They need to invest then a lot of time and enter the valley of the documentation. They need to write PRD specifications, they need to write Jira tickets, they need to assign them, they need to discuss velocity, and like it's a big theater, also political, sometimes debates around priorities. So people usually get stuck into this and wait for a couple of months. And if your delivery is happening super slow, weeks or months, you have a big problem, especially in trying to develop those type of new features that you want to bring value to your customers, clients, stakeholders. So the problem is not only like an organizational process, but it's also a human one. People get demotivated. So this is troublesome, and what I have found is that you need to balance the scales. You need to balance how you develop software with how you discover new things. And the most expensive way to lose money is actually to develop something that nobody wants and nobody uses. So let's try to use our idea. I'm currently using Replit as a tool of choice because I'm an engineer and I like it. I'm just copy pasting what we have typed, and hopefully under a couple of minutes while I explain the principles, Replit will be done. We will not wait weeks or months, meetings in order to see first visual feedback about our idea. And hopefully it will validate our concept internally for us. Then we can show it to users, then we can show it to clients, partners, to the team, to designers, to everyone, because our devs usually they are not lazy, they are just gridlocked, and we cannot force innovation if we have like a traffic jam. So the first principle is, in order to figure out if shadow engineering is for you, is to know that AI is enabling us to create this kind of a shadow engine. We use tools like Lovable, Replit, Cursor, all kinds of other tools out there in order to help us to deliver and to bypass, but they are not expected to be the start and the end. They are usually just like a spark from which there is fire. And people with domain knowledge will be able to deliver better results if they are paired with AI. Means that your team is not high performing. You can check the DORA metrics reports. Some high performant team are deploying once per day, maybe 2 or 3 times per day. And if your delivery is lightweight in terms of a budget, then shadow engineering might not be for you. But if it's not, then it means that discovery should be very efficient. Discovery should be very easy. You should be able to create apps, vibe code them, create them and deploy them, and check their feasibility, marketability, and try to understand how, if they are in internal apps, how your team is reacting about them. If they're external apps, try to validate in a separate way, in an isolated environment, and discover their feedback, what are they thinking about, how their what is their perception, especially if you do it in a cohort basis way. The second principle that I want to explain about shadow engineering is that you need to think in terms of safe data. First, you start with synthetic one, just like we are currently doing. You can check out right now how Replit is doing the agent here. He is thinking about like the schema, the design, the team, the urgency scoring, but everything is isolated. He doesn't know anything about our hospital, the patient data, and all of the things that we are having. After we are feeling good enough with the synthetic data, we need to use anonymized data, removed and obfuscated personal identifiable information, using that in order to bring closer the prototype to a real world environment. And in order to increase the trust, because usually some people might ignore it, the prototype, in terms of feasibility, because it's very far away from reality. In order to increase the trust, the final step, we can use real production data, again in a way that is obfuscated, personal information is removed, but the shape of the information is the same in terms of schema design, in terms of fields, in order to actually increase the trust and have something that is lightweight, but still sandboxed. And the third principle that we are having is to air gap it. So when I'm trying to think about shadow engineering for an existing client, I try to think of, okay, we are in a laboratory environment. We are isolating everything from the production files. We do not want to collect their problems in laboratory. So in the lab, basically, we are with no strings attached. We try to figure out crazy ideas, try battle test them, have feedbacks in a matter of minutes, in a matter of hours. We discuss them in asynchronous way. We try to isolate everything so we are not, let's say, being in a difficult position, because it can happen, being in a difficult position of explaining how we got this information, especially if it's being leaked. We do not want that. So then we want to simulate all of the API calls, all of the different style of communications that we are having. So we are not using real-time data from the production, but it gets close to it. And at the end, we want to dispose. You need to think of the code that is disposable, the feature, the bug that is introduced here, and we see that it's a problem, is also disposable. This is the entire concept in terms of three principles. Let me just summarize. So we need to balance the scale and understand if shadow engineering is for us. We need to think in terms of data. The ladder that we are going is helpful for us in order to be fast and safe. That's crucial. And we need to air gap, basically have a discovery method that is helpful. And let's see actually how Replit is behaving right now. So we have like a dashboard. You can search. Let's see if this works. John, we have critical people. Oops, it's getting... it's currently testing. Yeah, by the way, there is a very cool way to give more autonomy in Replit, and usually I run it on high mode. Here we have like critical patients. We have urgent ones. You can admit them or you can discharge. And then we have like the standard and the stable people. So this is the way that actually you can start thinking, okay, is this dashboard idea really good? Currently they are in cards, maybe in a list will be better. Right now I feel a little bit confused because there's so many things. Maybe I need a list of collapsible items in order, if I want to see more, why this is a 10. And it unlocks a lot of questions and answers. And if you do not have like a shadow engineering capacity and concepts, I'm planning to do a webinar if you like to participate and to live code some of your prototype ideas together and think about them. You can comment with +1 and I will let you know. I will get you invited in the waitlist. See you, leaders. Bye.